on YouTube. Very cool. I usually don't go on here, but why not today? Okay, so I'm gonna put on some steady music. Before, I was listening to gospel music and I got really emotional. I was like, okay, we gotta wrap that up because it's not that time. It's not that time. Okay. We're gonna go a deep session. We're gonna shuffle. There we go. All right, so I have sociology, a math exam, history discussion to complete, and then an English module. Yesterday, I saw this girl, and not saw this girl. Yesterday, I watched this video. And it was this freaking awesome girl who studies at Oxford, and she read and took notes on like 500 pages in 2 days. And I was like, gosh damn, like, I really want to be that person, you know? Like, I just want to be that person so bad. So she's motivated me. Thank you. Totally forgot what her name was or channel, but I'm sure if you typed in Oxford day in the life, you'll see it. Okay, so first things first, I need to do this sociology thing because I need this credit. I need this credit today. Okay. I feel like I already took notes on this, but let me just see. Maybe I didn't, but I will right now. Okay. Chapter 6 notes, which are not even that great. Okay. Elements. Okay, let's see. College. That's really important for me to make good grades. Like, I really want good grades. I really want good grades. I really want good grades. Maybe I should do this right here, actually. I'm gonna do this my iPad. So then I can take notes. I have this cute little thing. And then I can take notes like that. So I can do both. 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 Okay, it's always puts the wrong thing in there. Why is this not doing what I want it today? Why must you do this? Why must you be so annoying? Why must you be so annoying? I want to know. Put that dance on the floor. Oh my gosh. Okay. Wow. Okay, this is bullshit. language norms. Yeah, I need to get this out of the way. Most sociologists believe that culture is just as important and fundamental. Many also argue that culture and structure fit together or complement one another, at least under normal circumstances. For instance, a society with a highly unequal stratification system is likely to have a culture that supports that, for instance, by glorifying wealth. In societies that are more equal, culture might emphasize other things like community or camaraderie, but sometimes culture and structure get out of sync with each other, and they may lead to social problems and conflict. Something to think about. How would you describe the structure and culture of our own society right now? Do they fit with each other, or are they out of alignment? What are the elements of culture? Analyzing the role of culture in a particular social pattern or situation usually begins by identifying which elements of culture are most relevant. The OpenStax text describes many of these elements in detail, but misses some key points. Here's a summary of important characteristics. Symbols. A symbol is anything that means or represents something. Makeup of shared symbols, language, norms, values, beliefs, and material objects. How would you describe analyzing the role of culture in a particular social pattern or situation usually begins by identifying which elements of culture are most relevant. The OpenStax text describes many of these elements in detail, but misses some key points. Here's a summary of important characteristics. Let's see. What are the elements of culture? Analyzing the role of culture in a particular social pattern or a situation usually begins by identifying which elements of culture are most relevant. The OpenStax text describes many of these elements in detail but misses some key points. Here is a summary of important characteristics. Symbols. A symbol is the only thing that means or represents something. Examples include spoken words, written words, gestures, facial expressions, sounds, grunts, a doorbell, images. Images, brand logos, emojis, pictures indicating danger such as a poison or fire icon, paintings, and photographs. The connections between symbols and the things they represent result from long-term communications and shared traditions. In other words, they are socially constructed. That is why often the same symbol, a word, or hand gesture can mean very different things in different societies. It may change over time within a single society. Okay, language. If we could only use one symbol at a time, communication would be pretty limited. Luckily, we have language, a system of symbols that allows us to express and understand complex thoughts. Researchers also argue that language shapes the way we think and act. See the section on language and culture, and especially the Sapir-Whorf hypothesis in the textbook. These are societies' established guidelines and rules for behavior. The words are related. Most people follow their society's norms, so their behavior is normal, meaning common or typical. There are two different types of norms. Formal norms are officially enacted by some kind of authority or governing body and written down. These are societies' established guidelines and rules for behavior. The word for normal, but okay, that's a weird There are two different types of norms. Formal norms are officially enacted by some kind of authority or governing body and written down or at least announced. Examples include laws established by the United States government or rules in the GSU Student Code of Conduct. Informal norms are the unwritten rules of a society or social group. Rules of behavior that are not official, not written or announced, and yet learned and followed by most. Examples include general manners or rules of etiquette. In the U.S., shake hands when you meet, use a fork to eat, as well as more situation-specific rules. Don't curse in church. Raise your hand when you want to talk in class. We obey norms most of the time, in part due to sanctions. Positive sanctions are social rewards for complying with norms, while negative sanctions are social penalties for violating them. If you do a great job of complying with your employer's rules and your job description, formal norms, you could win the Employee of the Month award. Positive, formal sanction. If you show up at school wearing clothes that are totally out of fashion, as well as dirty and smelly, violating informal norms, people may shun you, make mean comments, or talk badly about you behind your back. Negative, informal sanctions. Interesting. Values. OpenStax defines values as rather ideals. values, or rather ideals or principles and standard members of a culture hold in high regard, or a culture standard for discerning what is good and just. Those are both true, but another way to think about values is a shared standard for judging what is good and bad, right and wrong, or desirable and undesirable. There are many different types. We have political values of judging government policies, aesthetic values for judging the beauty or ugliness of visual objects, culinary values for judging the taste of food, and so forth. Basically, whenever we evaluate something, we're using values. For instance, American culture tends to value research, individual achievement, and money making highly, much more than group well-being and non-monetary outcomes. This may help explain why workers in the finance industry make so much more money than those in healthcare, childcare, social work, education, and other caring fields. But we also use values constantly in making everyday decisions. An example, when buying a car, what do you value the most? Fuel efficiency, safety, price tag, a cool look. Is that what you want? Is that what you want? Is that what you want? Oh, Openstack defines beliefs as or convictions that people hold to be true. That's a fine definition. Just keep in mind that in sociology, a very wide range of convictions that we usually see as very different from one another. For instance, from a sociological standpoint, scientific knowledge, religious ideas, and conspiracy theories are all various kinds of beliefs. Scientific knowledge has a special status because it is backed by empirical evidence, but that is not necessarily what makes people believe it. Some people are more likely to believe in the kinds of motivational speaker, astrologer, or social media posts than in scientific conclusions based on mountains of empirical research. Figuring out why that is the case is one goal of cultural sociology. Material culture, the material objects that make up our lives. Food, housing, building, cars, technology, music, inking are collectively referred to as material culture. They are seen as important parts of our culture because they reflect and also help transmit and reinforce our symbols, beliefs, norms, and values. Think about it. If you drive a fancy car, that is a symbol to others. That you are wealthy, and it also reinforces shared values of material success. A cheaper car says you are middle class and perhaps symbolizes thriftiness. What do your clothes, phone, home, and other objects say about who you are and what you believe in? What do public objects like buildings and statues say about our country, our city, or country? How sociologists research culture. Culture is part of everything we do. But it is especially prominent in some areas of life that emphasize symbols, beliefs, and values, things like religion, education, media, and arts. Examples of sociological research questions that focus on the cultural dimensions of all aspects of society, including companies, social movements, scientific knowledge, and drug use. How does corporate culture influence the behavior of employees? What role do symbols, example, raised fist, peace sign, play in social movements such as civil rights and anti-war? What social factors influence people's belief about global warming? How do social norms learned from peers influence adolescents' choices regarding illegal drugs? Examples of sociological research questions that focus on specifically cultural-related parts of society, including social media, statues, music, and religion. How is the saying, A-okay, are you... Okay, boomer. How is saying, okay, boomer used and understood by participants in social media exchange? How do black and white visitors to a local park interpret its prominent statue celebrating a Confederate leader? How do musicians, fan groups, the recording industry, and the media shape the development of musical genres such as hip hop or bluegrass? What role does religion play in influencing people's political views? Moving on, after you read OpenStax 3 and this note, proceed to the elements of culture, activity, instructions, and do the discussion. Okay. That's giving me effing trouble. Choose one. Choose one of the political media examples linked below, or find one on your own. See note below on finding your own. Read or watch it. I suggest you take notes on how it uses elements of culture, symbols, norms while you do so. Step 2. Write up an analysis about one paragraph of how media examples use at least one element. Okay. Okay, write-up analysis. One element of culture described in the lecture note. post. Okay, here we go. All right, but I have a break, and in my little break, I wanted to look up some. Actually, I don't want to. Okay, that's much better.